Audio Jungle.
We are live. Welcome to the Most People Don't podcast, the live version. Most people don't, but you do. We have stories and conversations about people that we encounter that are going above and beyond, that are doing things that most people are not doing. Today's guest is certainly representative of all of those things that I just used to describe. His name is Seth Berge. He is joining us from Minneapolis. He is the founder and face of two regenerative medicine companies. The first one is called Regenerative Revival, and the second one is called Precision Biologics. Thrilled that we were introduced through David Meltzer and Colleen Malloy and all of those friends. And we're excited to hear about what you are doing, but also who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. So, Seth, welcome to the podcast. Glad you're here.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Bart.
Absolutely. We always kind of like to start off by asking a couple of questions that relate to the theme of the podcast. Most people don't. So that's the name of our company. That's the name of the book, the name of the podcast. What do you think that you do that most people don't do?
That's a great question. Specific to my businesses, let's take Regenerative Revival. What kind of is what sets that apart? So I'm in the regenerative medicine field, stem cells, exosomes, regenerative therapies. So the biggest differentiator among many that stands out, what makes Regenerative Revival known, is we do concierge in-home therapies. So rather than having brick and mortar clinics all over the country, which is expensive, a lot of overhead, and a lot of people don't want to travel for these services, I saw a need about 8.5 years ago when I got into space. I said, there's two things that people don't have. They don't have the education to know how to make these decisions. And we can talk about that too, but the access was very important to me. So I thought, in a state like Minnesota, which I know very well, you've got the Twin Cities, which is where a lot of the population is, but there's a big, large state outside of the Twin Cities with a lot of people that would love to get these types of therapies. They don't hear about them. They don't maybe want to drive into the Twin Cities and deal with the traffic. So that was something I identified even 8 years ago. I said, people don't know enough about this to make a decision, and they don't know where to go. So that's what I decided. I said, that's a real hole in the marketplace, is education and access. So that's really what I built the direct to consumer model around, is telling people about these, what's out there with regenerative medicine, explain it to them, not too sciencey, not, I'm not a doctor myself. Our salespeople are not doctors. We give them the general information. We speak to people at a level that they can understand, and then we turn it over to our medical field, of course. But that's probably the biggest differentiators. I provided education and access in a space where there's a lot of myths and a lot of question marks.
Right. So we're going to say that for your companies, right? Regenerative Revival.
Yep.
What you do, it's different, right? What the company does is different. A lot of differentiators. But I want to ask about you, Seth.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you do, right? And it's so funny because most people are so not wanting to talk about themselves, but we like to start. We want people to know, our listeners to know a little bit more about you. But just fill in the blank for you, not your company, but what do you do as a human being that most people don't do?
I try to identify problems and again, on the business side, I do try to identify problems and create an edge. Okay. That's the first thing. I am passionate about awareness on things that I care about, and I do care about health and wellness. So that's a big part of it. On a personal level, I'm a big believer in, I'm 43 years old. I've been in entrepreneurship a little bit in sales since my early 20s, definitely direct sales since I was 19, shifted over to running my own stuff when I was about 29 or 30. I really had a mindset shift the last few years as I've gotten older. I put myself in rooms like David Meltzer rooms, other entrepreneurs that have done a lot more than I have. And it took me way too long to learn this, to be honest, but I'm making up for lost time. It's like, there's nothing that other people have done that I don't have the skills to do myself. The only thing And it's just, I'm
Yeah,
not trying to be cocky, but it's
no,
like
it's not.
what one man can do.
Yeah.
Why did all these people build successful businesses that scaled, help people, exited, started something else? It's like, what do they have that I don't have? I've been blessed with, I've got a brain that works. I've got a body that works. I'm pretty good at communicating. I was lacking discipline and really mentorship.
Yeah.
So I really took a leap the last few years, just realizing like there's so much untapped potential in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to get it is not to hang around people that I'm better than or am more successful than. It has been, I humbled myself and said, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that have done big things. What do they know that I don't? I know they don't have anything inherently that I don't have other than discipline and experience. So if I can cut the time down with, I've paid a lot of money to mentors, to coaches, to teach me the things that I don't know, because time is money. So I feel like I went a decade in my 30s not getting really serious about business and entrepreneurship. I was kind of just happy being mediocre and good enough and maybe better than my friend group at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know this is something any guru will say it and mentor, but it took me too long to hear it. But surround yourself, get in rooms where you're not the smartest person, you're not the most successful person. And David Meltzer says this is something I take away when you get in these rooms, be interested, don't try to be interesting, be interested.
Yeah,
And
be more interested than interesting,
try
because
to be.
it's not about you. So
Yeah.
two things that I'm learning already, Seth, which I love that what you're sharing, because it is being vulnerable. You're saying, okay,
Yeah.
Discipline, and you
Yeah.
being an athlete growing up, you've
Yeah.
had discipline. You being in sales, you've had discipline.
Yeah.
But then realizing that there's people that have done it already very well before you, and then simply the question of, well, why not me? Why
Yeah.
not me? And I'll share just a quick little story, Seth. Just yesterday, we were speaking with another connection through David, through Richard Dolan, through other folks. And this gentleman has an online training, creating online tools, basically online training. A terrific gentleman. I haven't gotten his approval, so I'm not going to say his name quite yet. But he's talking about, well, yeah, you have a great idea. You have great ideas, Bart, and you're a keynote speaker. Well, we can help you put that into an online program and sell the heck out of it, because Tony Robbins does it and Grant Cardone has done it. We've helped them. And so why realistically, you could be bringing in $50,000 a month. You could be bringing in $1 million a month. And so then my wife and I got off the call and I said, well, what do you think about that? She was like, well, that's, pretty pie in the sky, high expectations, $1 million a month.
Yeah.
And I just turned to her and I said, but why not?
Why not?
Like,
Yeah.
why not us?
Yeah.
Right, Seth?
Yeah.
Why not you? So
Exactly.
I love that approach. I love that approach. And are you getting encouragement? Because it is not easy, as you were saying, to be with other smart people. Are they encouraging you? Are they seeing something in you that is adding to that discipline that you already have?
Yeah, I'm chronically online, but I try to use it in a good way. I follow people that I want to, that have done more than me in business. Right now, I also know I've gotten to know a lot of these people at a human level, and it's good sometimes to talk to them off the clock to hear that they are going through some of the same struggles that all entrepreneurs are. But learning from them, getting encouragement from them. Yeah, absolutely. Some of my coaches, we talk about founder burnout. We talk about, day-to-day struggles, imposter syndrome, all these. We could probably, you said to have 30 or 35 minutes. We could probably go 3 hours. Turn this into a therapy session. But yeah, there's very common struggles that people that are trying to build something big go through. And, I am not too proud. Also, another David Meltzer thing. If you're not humble, now you're about to be humbled, right? So that's running a business. Every day you wake up thinking, oh, it's going to be a good day, and you're going to put.
We have all these, we have all these Meltzerisms that we're going to be sharing throughout this conversation, but it's because the impact that he is having on people like me and you, which is crazy good. Seth, just curious, why are you had referenced you were an entrepreneur before, and kind of not coasting, but kind of coasting.
I was,
maybe okay, use those words. But why do you want this to be bigger? What's the drive for?
Great boy, we're going deep here.
Yeah, we are. But that's what our
I love
listeners, right? Our listeners appreciate. So hopefully you don't mind.
I don't mind. I love it. I
Okay.
love it. For me personally, it is business is a sport.
Mm,
So I'm an ex-athlete. I've been playing volleyball, softball, pickup men's league. I just hung up my basketball shoes last year. I said I just don't have time to play 3, 4, 5 days of men's league and everything. I've got kids of my own. So I'm trying to sit here thinking like, what is, not to get overly the meaning of life. And we're not going to get that deep, but it's like, what am I in the business? Like, why am I messing around in business? Like just a little bit, like if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, if I'm actually going to try to do something great with my life and have purpose,
mhm,
I've got to build something. So it's not about chasing dollars. That's what it always was, like make enough money so I can drive a nice enough car, not have to worry about money. I've always been good at that. I've known how to make money,
mhm,
not crazy money, but I've always known how to be comfortable. And that was always my driving force. So then I would get distracted with other things in life, maybe not as healthy. And it's just like maybe right around 40, meeting some of the right people. It was just kind of like, all right, maybe this next chapter of my life, I got to take it serious. Like, what am I doing? What am I waking up every day for? What am I building? I've got 2 boys. I start thinking a 14 and a 9-year-old, like, what are they going to do with their lives?
yeah.
I don't want them to be a commission-based chasing sales guy their whole life. Like, I need to build something. I would love to have them work with me. I want them to be in the business with me. So part of it is just like, what am I going to live for? And for me, it's like, I think again, there's nothing that I can't do it's everything that I want to do in life is on the other side of discipline and actually doing it.
Mhm.
So, business is a sport. That is my sport. So I play every sport I ever played. I played to be the best at it or among the best. I'm not saying I'm going to be better than Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. I don't have to be, but there's no reason I can't be the best that I can possibly be.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, it's like, that gives me purpose every day. It's like, I wake up every day knowing I've got not just myself. Now I have almost 25 people. Like I have 25 souls that rely every single day on making sure that the businesses I run continue to run because I'm paying them, I'm paying their families. And that's a heaviness that is not, there's times where it gets pretty heavy, but it also, in a healthy way, it's like, this is pretty cool that I'm building this empire and I love bringing people up with me. I really do enjoy taking younger sales guys, even some of my friends that I brought into my business and try to help them level up, not just financially, but kind of some of the mindset things that I'm learning, taking them to David Meltzer events, Andy Elliott events, things like these other, events that I go to. It's like, I've seen a lot of people level up around me
Mhm.
and realizing that is just as fulfilling, if not more, than a commission check or a, slap on the shoulder saying, you benched a lot at the gym today. It's like, no, it's pretty cool building something. And I feel like I'm just beginning to, like, this is
Wonderful.
phase 1 of Seth Berge, real entrepreneurship.
It's meaningful as you just described the why you're doing it. It's not chasing bigger or better. It's meaningful. It's purpose driven. It's making you feel a certain way. It
Yeah.
is creating perhaps, well, it is. You are creating legacy, right? Any
Right.
entrepreneur
Yeah.
is creating legacy for family, for others. You're supporting others, not always about the paycheck, like you just said. You know how to make money. And then going back to one of your personal differentiators, uh, with discipline, you're doing things. And I was waiting for you to say you do what most people don't do. But we're going to imply that because you almost said it word for word. Because of your discipline, this is why you are doing it. In the element of your product,
Mhm.
it is helping people. And I say this with our company, we help people feel better, get better, and do better
Mhm.
by doing what most people don't do. Can you then switch a little bit to the the tools, the technology, the product, the service that Regenerative Revival is offering? I know you have 2 companies.
Yeah. They're
So
intertwined. Yeah.
okay,
So
okay,
think Precision Biologics it's a distribution. I contract manufacture the products that Regenerative Revival uses.
okay,
So Precision Biologics has the products. That company wholesales. I've got tons and tons of doctors and med spas and clinics that wholesale for me, and then they use it on their patients. But Let's talk about the product. So we're doing stem cell therapy, regenerative therapy, and in a nutshell, regenerative therapy is basically giving your body the tools that it needs to actually repair itself. So if you think about traditional management of pain, let's just use pain management. Most people are told they either have to take pills to mask the symptoms, do cortisone injections, which don't actually heal anything, do that for a number of years until you have to have a surgery or, replace a knee, a hip, a shoulder, do back surgery. Most people, if they're honest, don't really like those options. Mm-hmm. So there's a need out there for people to have alternative options to get out of pain, to avoid surgeries, people who want to do things naturally. So that's where regenerative medicine comes in. So it's a natural way to get your body to heal itself.
Okay. Can I ask you some specifics? We'll use me as an example.
Okay.
This was, probably maybe 10 years ago, probably longer now. I had 2 discs replaced in my neck.
Yep.
And more about me, when I was 12 years old, I had an out-of-body experience during routine neurosurgery. So I heard them talking. I heard the doctors and nurses doing their surgery, and I was still awake, but I couldn't move. So just imagine, just brutal, right? And set me on an interesting trajectory for the rest of my life, but I speak on that, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But anyway, fast forward a whole bunch of years, I was losing sensation in my arm, my hand. Went to doctors, went to chiropractors, and basically got 3 opinions. And they're like, look, you're 1 car accident away from being paralyzed. So I had surgery, and it was the most brutal recovery of anything I have ever dealt with in my life, right? Because they cut you here and just horrible.
Yeah.
As a result of that, many years ago, I still get facet injections. I get nerve ablation. I'm not reusing probably all of the proper terms, but my doctor has said, this is kind of a temporary thing, right? It's temporary to kind of like keeping your machine oiled kind of a thing, right? It's going to help for a little bit. And about every 6 months, I have to go back in for some more shots and things. But like, I want to do everything possible to avoid surgery again, because I'm afraid of surgery.
Yeah, you should be.
It's freaking scary, right? It's scary. So having said that, what I'm beginning to learn, it's okay, there are other things available besides surgery to help with pain, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Seth, I know you're not a doctor, but this is your world.
Yep.
Is it, and I know I'm not going to use any of the right words, is it blood platelet therapy? Where do the stem cells come from? Are they from me, or are they from someone else? Are they manufactured? Because I'm sure our listeners want to learn too. Yes. Whatever you can share.
So the most people in this space in the US and overseas, very much dominated now by using donated stem cells and exosomes from birthing tissue. Okay. So let's start there. If a mother is going to have a C-section birth here in the United States, in most hospitals, not all hospitals, but larger hospitals, will ask that mother what she wants to do with her birthing tissue. The birthing tissue is the cord, which is the most important part for the products we make. The cord blood, the placenta, the amniotic fluid, the amniotic tissue, all of that has amazing regenerative properties in it. Stem cells, exosomes, growth factors, a lot of the stuff that is in PRP, platelet-rich plasma, is found. The growth factors and cytokines and all that stuff is found in umbilical cord tissue. It's just even way better because it's coming from the youngest, healthiest source. So if that mother's having a C-section, it does have to be C-section because a vaginal birth is too much risk of contamination. And the FDA and the American Association of Tissue Banks set very strict guidelines on the collection of the tissue. So it starts at the hospital. The mother's going to have a baby. If she checks a box that says she's okay to donate, she doesn't get paid. I'll just answer some of these questions.
Yeah.
Don't shoot the messenger. Everybody's like, well, why doesn't the mother get paid if these treatments cost thousands and thousands of dollars? That's just the way the FDA and the American Association of Tissue Banks made it. They don't get paid, but let's say that they're going to have a C-section. If that baby is born with 0 complications on the day and the time of the C-section, so there's extra staff in the room to collect the tissue, and if that mother has passed all the medical screening, background, everything like that, then she's a candidate for tissue collection. So they deliver the baby, they take the cord, the placenta, all the biological garbage. It gets sent, it's cryopreserved within 48 hours. They've already got a a third-party company ready to take that tissue, get it to a lab. The lab is registered with the FDA. They follow all the protocols for screening and cleaning of that tissue. They're screening it for every communicable disease. They're removing endotoxins. They're making sure, okay, this raw material is safe. Okay. Myself and my partners, Precision Biologics is my white label brand, but I've got some big players in the space that we go together and we use a lot of our capital and purchase the raw materials after they've been screened, a lot, like millions and millions of dollars at a time. And then we contract manufacture. There's contract FDA registered contract manufacturers that we use in the United States. So we give them that raw tissue and you say, here's the products we want to make. We make about 16 products right now. And I talked about earlier how if you're going to play in the market, you want to have an edge. What we saw out there is say, okay, because our edge is our capital that we're able to infuse to get our margins better. And we can say, all right, the marketplace for the standard umbilical cord tissue product is 100, let's say 70 milligrams of tissue weight per 1 ml. This is nerdy stuff, but we're like, okay, we want to make it ours be 150 milligrams. We want to be double the concentration level because the more umbilical cord tissue in there, the more stem cells, the more growth factors, the more exosomes, the more healing, more is better, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, because we're handling the process basically from A to Z, we have control over the margins. We want to have the best. We want to have the best, most potent products on the market and the least expensive, so that we can capture the market. And that's what we've done over the last few years on the B2B side. So between my partners and I, we did over 500,000 units of product last year, and we're going to blow through that next year. So we have a very robust distribution network of the products. So that's on the product side. So think umbilical cord after a baby's born. It is not your own stem cells. Okay, that's the old technology. Okay. Where yes, you could get some of those regenerative properties like stem cells. You've got them in your body fat. We've got them in our bone marrow. So there are still some docs out there because they're scared of this new stuff, but that's a different conversation, where they will drill into your hip, remove the bone marrow, spin that marrow, isolate those stem cells, and then re-inject it into your neck, your shoulder, your hip. That's not what we do. That's not what anybody. That's
truly you're doing. Yeah, and if I even made an analogy of gasoline, yours is the high octane. Yeah. Yours is the best stuff that is there.
Youngest, healthiest, most active. So all the regenerative properties, those big words, the exosomes, the secretomes, all that stuff, they're going to be healthier, younger, more vibrant, the younger they are. So if you take your own stem cells, I'm 43. I don't know what you are, but even as
41, I'm 41, Seth.
Even as a healthy 43 and 41-year-old, our stem cells have dropped off a cliff for their activity and their capacity to repair. So you get a younger source, the youngest source that you can get, not fetal, not embryonic. I want to be clear. We're not talking about aborted babies or anything. We're talking about tissue after the birth. And that type of tissue too, those cells, because they haven't gotten far enough in the gestation process, they're immunoprivileged. You don't have to worry about blood type. Your body will not reject the cells that come from the umbilical cord tissue. So it's safe. There's virtually no chance of rejection. There's been no actual serious adverse reactions to any US made product in the last decade. And there's been millions and millions of patients using not just our product, but the whole process. Anything in the US is going to be, for the most part, if it's reputable at all, is going to have the same standard of safety and care.
Okay.
So I don't crap on other people's. Yeah. I don't say it's not safe to go to this other lab. I'm saying if they're processing the US, it's safe. Just look at concentration levels. That's a differentiator. But I'm not out there saying if you go to this company, they're going to kill you or anything like that, because it's pretty strict here in the US.
Yeah. And Seth, how did you become so knowledgeable on stem cell and regenerative aspects?
Yeah, really.
Were you in sales doing that prior?
Yep. So I got into the business 8.5 years ago. So if you ask me, how do I know so much? I'm still not a doctor. I don't ever pretend to be, but I've been talking about this for 8.5 years now. I've given over 2,000 dinner seminars, like educational seminars, to 30 to 50 people per night, 2 or 3 times a week for 8.5 years. So about a year and a half ago, I stopped doing that myself because now I have a team of 10 guys who do it, but I still oversee that. So knowledge just from being around it, of course. But yes, I started off my career in this space. I got into the space 8.5 years ago, not to build a distribution company, not to, I didn't see where it was going to go. I just wanted to sell those therapy packages to people. Like I talked about education and access.
Mhm.
That's why I got into it. It's like, okay, this is a really cool product. It's cutting edge. There's margins in there. I had done direct to consumer sales my whole life, high ticket, home improvement, solar. I did financial services right before stem cells. So it fit what I was used to as far as education, providing, solving a problem that people have. And
Yeah.
it's more, yeah. So if you asked me 8.5 years ago, would I
Okay.
have people on a team? Would I be distributing, manufacturing, going on David Meltzer stages? I never would have thought that. I just thought this is a good thing to sell, to make money, to help people. But I wasn't thinking big like I am now.
Seth, the other interesting thing is that you were able to identify the industry, first of all, and then figure out a way to make it better, the product better,
Yep.
create the service delivery better, make
Yep.
the margins better, do the education better. I mean, that's pretty darn cool, right? And Seth, you could have done it with solar, as you just said. You
Yeah.
could have done it with financial, but you chose this probably because, as you said, you're beginning to get a little bit older, and you realize that this is going to be needed
Yeah.
heavily in the
Yeah.
future as people continue to live longer. We want them to live longer and feel good while they're living longer.
Health
Right?
span. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Wow. I mean, there's so much to share. Just a few last questions, Seth, and this has been very interesting, I think, for all of our listeners, including me. You're teaching me things. You had referenced that in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, as an example, people were not necessarily really talking about it very much.
Mhm.
So if people would like to be able to use your product, are there brick and mortar locations for Regenerative Revival that they can go to? How can they use your product and your services, I guess?
Yeah.
That's just open-ended there.
So if you're somebody out there listening that is like, I have heard about stem cell therapy, I don't know where to go, but I want it. I've got a bad knee, a bad shoulder, bad back. I want it systemic IV for autoimmune conditions, whatever.
Mhm.
You don't have to live in Minnesota. I'm in all 50 states. So I have a 50-state medical directorship. So I have a company that handles all my clinical. They have medical directors in all 50 states. They set up all the protocols, and I have traveling nurse practitioners, physician assistants, literally any state. Where are you out of again?
Northern Virginia, outside of DC.
For example, I could send somebody to your home within the next 2 or 3 weeks, if not sooner.
Mhm.
I would ship the products from
Mhm.
our warehouse in Orlando, where we store all of our products. I would ship it to the nurse practitioner, who would come in dry ice. It'd last 2-3 days. We would ship it the day of your treatment. She would bring it with her to your home with her supplies. And I shouldn't say she. We do have some male providers too. And they would inject your shoulder, your back, your neck, give you an IV systemic. It would take 30 to 45 minutes, and they would do it in the comfort of your home. So Minnesota, Virginia, literally all, Alaska, Hawaii, we're in all 50 states, and we come to you. So if you are somebody, I'll just throw this out there too. If you're somebody that's weirded out, maybe you've got 12 cats in your house, or the house is under construction, very likely I have a wholesale distribution partner, a clinic, and I do this all the time, where it's like, all right, you don't want us to come to your house. I've got somebody that a friendly clinic that they're okay with you meeting there, and my nurse practitioner will probably still take care of you. But
yeah, making it very, very easy. And then easy and convenient. And Seth, is it a one and done type of a thing, or will I need another tune up in 10 years and 3 years and a month?
Great question. So it does. I'm going to do the typical medical disclaimer here. It obviously does depend on case by case, but let me just give it a 45-second overview. The sweet spot for what these products do is they regenerate and repair soft tissue defects. So if you have a systemic autoimmune condition and you want to do an IV, that's probably not going to be a one and done. We're going to probably be managing that, throughout the rest of your life based on your symptoms. But if you have somebody that has like a cartilage tear, a degenerative disc, a herniated disc, a bulging disc, tendon, ligament, anything like that, rotator cuff tear.
Yeah. My neck situation. Yeah.
The idea would be a
Mhm.
successful regenerative therapy actually regenerates and repairs the root cause. So the reason people are doing this instead of surgery is because the reason somebody might have thought they needed surgeries because they had like Joe Rogan talks about on his podcast all the time, his experience. He had a full rotator cuff tear. He was told he needed surgery. He got stem cell and exosome therapy instead. And within 4 to 5 months, completely healed the rotator cuff tear as if it was never there after one treatment.
Incredible.
It's not magic. It actually reversed the root cause. So if it reverses the root cause, then it's like it should be a one and done. So all of our protocols, the reason we want the most concentrated products, we actually add 50 billion exosomes to every stem cell product, which is we're on the cutting edge of that. The whole point is because we don't have a brick and mortar clinic with a business model of, hey, we're trying to see you as many times. I love chiropractors, but their whole business model is, can I sell you a package where you have to come in 10 different times? It doesn't behoove us financially to have to send a nurse practitioner out to you 3 times over the course of 3 months. So we're going to give you the best possible, most potent care, all that your body can handle the first time so that you don't need to repeat the procedure, especially if it's an injury.
It's truly helping to repair. And I'm almost using the example of if my hair is not growing, I'm not going to keep on getting a haircut because I'm not going to go to the barber because my hair is not growing. Right. So if I am pain-free, I'm not going to keep on doing anything because it is already regenerated and it is getting healthy. It is repairing itself. Your body is helping through this stem cell process to be able to repair itself. Yes. From a cost perspective, because I'm like, okay, yeah, hey, I need to look, I'm going to look at your website and you tell me who, let's make it work for me. I know through the other doctors that I have seen that are doing the facet injections and the nerve burning because the pain in the neck then leads to temporal headaches for me. And I have to get it done every 6 months. And the one gentleman was suggesting, really appreciate the gentleman, but I'm learning a lot more from you, just to be candid. He's like, well, yes, you should consider it. Here's a pamphlet. And I'm like, can you give me an idea? What does the cost look like? And does insurance cover it? And the numbers were really, 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 really high. And his messaging was, it's all out of pocket. And that's okay if that's the case. But with your product, with Regenerative Revival, can you share some basic questions? I know it's going to vary, but is it $10,000? Is it $1,000? Is it covered by some insurance? Is it not? Because I know our listeners are going to want to know.
Yeah. Okay. The biggest downfall is what everybody asks. The hardest part about the business I'm in, I very rarely find anybody that doesn't want stem cell therapy, but it is not covered by any insurance. It isn't. Everything that we do, it's unfortunately, we could have a 3-hour podcast. And I could talk about the FDA and big pharma and insurance and how that works. But stem cell therapy for joints, for structural repair of joints it's not an FDA approved. It's not FDA approved for any specific condition. So it's legal, but it's not FDA approved to say, hey, so long story short, it's not covered by insurance. Okay. It's out of pocket. So let's talk costs. Most of our packages start at about $5,000. Okay. And then we have some amazing again, affordability is that's a third thing. Education first, access and affordability. I'm not saying we're cheap. There is no cheap. You don't want cheap stem cell therapy. We're probably less expensive than virtually anybody because of the business model, because of my nurse practitioners, my providers that we have, they're all 1099 contracted. So we're not paying 100 salaries to 100 providers. We pay them a generous per patient visit fee. I have control of all the costs of the product because we manufacture. So we're going to be less expensive than anybody else. And we start getting really good package deals. If you have a bad neck and a shoulder in the same visit, we can do that. A lot of people are doing longevity and systemic IVs pushes as part of their overall therapy. It's like, okay, as long as we've got the provider already out there, I've already absorbed that cost. We're going to give a lot of good deals. So most people spend for whatever they're getting. Some people get a whole new body, like they have multiple body parts, back, knees, hips, shoulder. 5 to 15,000 is usually what people are spending with us, and nobody's one knee is $10 or $15,000. When we start talking about 10,000, 12, 15, you're talking about multi-body parts, multi-injections, systemic IV included. 5 to 15 would be the long answer to your short questions.
No, okay. But as I'm thinking about that, for many people, right, including myself, that is worth saving up for.
Yeah.
Right? And it is worth not going through the risk of surgery again for many people. And what is the price of being pain-free and feeling better? And I'm thinking, right, recovery time.
Yeah.
Right. Recovery time is what? Next to nothing?
Next to nothing. So we're going to tell you, if you get your shoulder done, if you get your knee done, like when I've got my knees done twice over the last 6 years. I have osteoarthritis from playing so much basketball. I just take like 2 weeks off from playing pickup basketball after. It's not that my knees hurt too bad to do it. It's just a good idea to let the cells settle in there. So if you do your shoulder, don't go throw the football with your kid or grandkid 100 times for a couple of weeks. But there's no recovery time.
Okay. I mean, absolutely incredible what you're doing, Seth. Thank you so much for sharing so many cool ideas. And every single person that I have on the podcast, regardless of what their level of expertise is, we're learning something new about how to feel better, get better, and do better.
Yeah.
So, I talked to a gentleman that was talking about vibrations, and he has different tools that help your body recover with different vibrations. And then there's someone else that is teaching individuals that it is okay to have dyslexia, and he walks people through that. Then there's other people that are focusing on children and help making sure that they are built up and brought up feeling confident and secured and supported. So there's so many different elements that are out there in this world to help people literally feel better, do better, and get better, whatever order I just said. And your tool, your company is really doing that and providing that, which is just phenomenal. And I love the platform of podcasts like this because we're lucky. We're top 2 to 5% globally, right? We're not Joe Rogan numbers, but we get a lot of people listening and learning. That's all it takes. The education that relates back to your education piece, that people can feel better. All right. What is the best place, Seth, for people to learn more about Regenerative Revival? Is there a website where they should go to find out from a consumer lens, from a potential patient lens, to be able to look?
You said regenerativerevival.com.
Okay.
And or you can go to gotstemcells.com, which will take you to Regenerative Revival. So whichever one's easier, regenerativerevival.com or gotstemcells.com will take you there. Got Stem Cells is our trademarked marketing piece.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's catchy. Seth Berge, Berge. Cannot thank you enough. Founder of Regenerative Revival, leading recovery and wellness for so many different people. Truly, last question. We started off the conversation by asking you, what do you do that most people don't do? But if you just had to fill in the blank from a general lens and fill in the blank, most people don't blank.
Most people don't go for it. They don't go for it.
And why not?
Right. Limiting belief. I mean, I'm not going to act like I said, I probably didn't really go for it until recently either. I was half-assing it. So it's just, most people don't think they don't think they can. And maybe not everybody's meant to be a major, there's that too. Not everybody is probably cut out to be a entrepreneur. I mean, there's times I'm like, I don't know, like why I'm doing, and it's like, why am I doing this? And it's 9 o'clock at night, and then, I'm getting blown up on my sales guys on the West Coast, but it's like, I can do it. I'm built for this.
Yes.
But most people they just don't go for it.
Yeah. Go for it. If you have an idea, if you have a burning passion,
go for
it. Accept that you can do it and get yourself the discipline that's going to come internally, Seth, like you were talking about. And then surround yourself with resources and mentors, people that have done it before, like the David Meltzers of the world, and then resources, websites like yours, podcasts like this, to be able to make things happen. Wow.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal conversation. Seth, cannot thank you enough. I'm proud to know you. Congratulations on what you're doing to help people to build legacy for your kids, for you, for your family. And I will be in touch because I think probably in about 6 months before it's the next time for them to burn some nerves in my
Yeah.
neck,
Yeah.
right?
We can
I think
talk
I'm
for
going to
sure.
use
Yeah.
yours. I think I'm going to use your services. So
Okay.
amazing conversation. Seth, thank you so much again. Appreciate all that you do. Regenerativerevival.com. Please check it out, learn more, and feel better.
Thank you.